In the West, extreme wealth is an inescapable public performance. When you reach the top of the billionaire list, you go on podcast tours, you buy sports teams, and you broadcast your every thought to an audience of millions. The same goes for other tech founders. Their faces are deeply intertwined with their brands, and they frequently become the main characters in the story of their own products. This chart shows a different reality. In 2026, China officially surpassed the United States with 1,110 billionaires. Together, they control a collective fortune of nearly $2.2 trillion. Yet, despite this massive concentration of capital, try naming 5 of them. Most people outside of China couldn't pick a single one of these titans out of a police lineup. The individuals holding this wealth share a highly unusual set of behaviors. They operate entirely off-camera. They skip industry conferences, rarely grant media interviews, and often quietly resign from the boards of the empires they built. This collective silence is entirely intentional. It's an invisible playbook. In a system where visibility is a liability, avoiding the spotlight is the single most critical requirement to keep your fortune intact. To understand why, we have to look at the domestic ecosystem these companies operate in. The rules for scaling a massive corporation here share almost no overlap with Silicon Valley. Standing out draws scrutiny. High-profile founders who speak out or run afoul of regulators have seen their market values decimated by sudden crackdowns and punishing fines. Even founders entirely detached from tech face extreme pressure. The man at the very top of the wealth list, who made his fortune selling bottled water, recently watched his brand face widespread boycotts from nationalist consumers over packaging design. The ultimate masterclass in this survival strategy comes from tech billionaire Zhang Yiming. He built ByteDance and its flagship app TikTok, reshaping how an entire generation consumes media worldwide. He amassed an estimated net worth of $69.3 billion. Then, at age 38, he wrote a letter to his employees saying he preferred reading over running meetings, stepped down as CEO, and vanished from the public eye. Walking away was a calculated victory. By erasing his public profile, he removed a massive target from ByteDance's back, allowing the privately held titan to focus entirely on dominating global AI development. Staying quiet is only half the strategy. True wealth generation in China requires perfectly anticipating where the government is about to deploy its massive pre-planned economic waves. ByteDance's explosive early growth is a perfect example. Its success was built on the state aggressively pushing 4G infrastructure into rural provinces, bringing hundreds of millions online through their phones simultaneously. Now, a new wave is forming, and ironically, it was triggered by Washington cutting Chinese firms off from American technology. When the U.S. restricted access to advanced processing chips, Beijing immediately declared semiconductor self-sufficiency a national security objective, flooding domestic chip programs with state capital. Senior executives who spent decades inside American tech giants saw the shift. They left their jobs, returned home, and launched their own firms. The state quickly issued procurement mandates requiring government agencies to buy local components, guaranteeing these new companies massive client bases overnight. In this ecosystem, foreign sanctions act as state-funded launchpads. If you operate quietly and align with the government's needs, geopolitical roadblocks produce instant billionaires. The playbook is highly predictable, and the government just published its exact shopping list for the next era of wealth creation in the 15th five-year plan. This chart tracks upcoming capital injections. Beijing is allocating 1.3 trillion yuan this year for science and tech, expecting related industries to scale into a $10 trillion market by 2030. This capital is strictly earmarked for 6 national pillars, dictating exactly where rapid growth will happen. 2 primary targets for this state-backed push are the intelligent robotics industry and integrated circuits. The government is funneling massive resources into new materials, biotechnology, the low-altitude economy, and commercial aerospace. Entrepreneurs looking to capture a piece of this market have a clear roadmap. The strategy is to set up in gateway hubs like Hong Kong or Singapore and integrate directly into these 6 targeted supply chains. The loudest disruptor in the room rarely wins here. True power in the modern Asian market belongs to those who build in absolute silence, while letting trillion-dollar state waves do the heavy lifting.